All right, here we go.
I'm going to check on Alex.
Okay, stand by. Here we go.
To Alpha Geek Radio.
The following is a production.
You are listening to Alpha Geek Radio.
The following is a production of Galactic Netcasts.
Do you see what I see? Fire in the sky. You are full of shit. Please don't bring on me. I'm not 1 million. This has got to be a dream. You crazy kid. There ain't no such thing as an alien.
It's Thursday, September 1st, 2016. Welcome to the Alien Invasion number 192, a production of the Galactic Network of Podcasts. I'm Dave Nelson, along with Brad Ludwig and Anessa Moyens. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Okay, so last week I asked you, or I've asked you almost on every episode, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And we had this whole thing last week where that isn't much of a question. There's not a whole lot of answers you can give for that.
That's true.
So I'm going to ask you guys, what have you done in the last week since I saw you last?
Oh, we've been cleaning the Nerdatorium studio.
So fall cleaning.
Fall cleaning. Why, like right now, I know exactly where my Guy Fawkes mask is, because that's important.
What about the pince-nez? Where is that? I ask you.
Well, the pince-nez, I think, is in a box somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
It used to be behind you. Or
Yeah,
on the
like I
shelf.
said, we've started, and we've gotten a pretty good dent on it, but it is not a completed project as of yet. So,
All right. Well, keep me updated here.
we'll keep you updated.
Let's continue on with this podcast, which is about aliens, extraterrestrial beings from elsewhere in the galaxy, and their appearances in science fiction, and in real life. We touch different bases during this podcast. We talk about them in the news. We talk about them in the sighting section and our recommendations or our picks for the week. Want to thank real quick Monkey Warhol for providing the intro music. He is a great person. I have been in touch with him a lot over the last week or so, getting the new podcast on the Galactic Network going called Galactic Radio. Yeah, he custom made a intro for the show, and you guys need to go over to gncasts.com/Galactic Radio and get yourself subscribed, because it's going to be an awesome show. And Anessa is going to be in the first 4 episodes, which is
What?
So I'm told.
very exciting. Very, very exciting. All right. Hey, I think it's time. Let's get the news going here. If I can. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Hang on. Okay, here we go.
In the news.
And this is a big story that I've been following personally all week, and Brad's going to bring it to you right now.
I am, because we talked about this, I think last session here.
No, we didn't. No. This was a brand new occurrence between the last time we got together and this time. Pretty sure.
We'll go with that. Okay. There is a star that is called HD 164595. And for a little while here, there has been a lot of hullabaloo that we were getting intelligent, possibly intelligent radio signals from this particular star, which is 94 light years away approximately. But the plot has thickened. Recently, scientists experienced a brief thrill of excitement when a Russian radio telescope detected a strong radio signal, apparently coming from a star called HD 164595, residing 94.4 light years away from Earth in the constellation Hercules.
Hercules.
Perturbed that the Russians had waited for months before sharing this bit of news, SETI scientists scrambled to place the star under observation to see if any other signals were forthcoming. None were, and, as Eric Berger of Ars Technica reports, the Russians have had to sheepishly admit that the signal likely was of Earth origin. Another possible discovery of aliens has gone bust. Now, this signal was thought to have come from space, but is actually coming from Earth. It has happened once before. CNET reported recently that a radio telescope at Parkes in Australia picked up something called a periton. I don't know exactly how that's pronounced. I'm going to go with periton. A fast radio burst of unknown origin. It turned out that the dish, popularized in the Australian film The Dish, about the mission of Apollo 11, was detecting something of a more terrestrial origin. The fast radio bursts were being produced. What's your guess? How are they being produced, Dave?
I remember this story about the other thing, and I seem to recall it's something to do with the microwave.
You're correct. Yes. It was being produced by an older microwave. When the doors were opened before the ovens were done, a brief radio burst was emitted that was then picked up by the dish, because microwaves are basically bombarding the food with radio waves, radio frequency. And that's what excites everything in the food and gets it hot. The phenomenon was unique to a certain brand of an older microwave that still worked as they were supposed to. The good news is that these types of fast radio bursts can be of space origin as well, likely as the result of a supernova or the collision of two stellar objects. But the upshot is that radio observatories need to make sure that their nearby kitchen equipment is up to date and does not interfere with their dish's operation. The story should also serve as an object lesson to the media. While scientists, ever cautious about pronouncing the discovery of alien radio signals, were cautioning that the Russian signal could be of a natural origin, some media outlets were furiously reporting that aliens may have been found. To be sure, such a discovery would be the story of the century, but as it turns out, it hasn't happened yet.
Okay, didn't we talk about this a while ago, how they were going to set up like a checks and balances system for big announcements, like an actual finding life out there?
Well, I think they might have created a protocol in the United States, and maybe they haven't created one in Russia.
Oh, okay.
Were I to hazard a guess.
Well, that's a good guess. A good hazardly guess.
The Dukes of Hazzard guess.
Yeah.
Cuckoo.
I was very excited. Were you guys, when you first heard about, before it was debunked, before we actually knew what the source was, were you guys kind of excited about this?
I think I've seen enough of these stories to where I'm just like, meh, it's totally not legit. So I think I've kind of lost that. Ooh. And I'm just kind of like, meh, I'll revisit it later and see, but I don't think it'll pan out.
So what would get you excited, Anessa? Like, what would be the thing that would put you over the edge?
That it had been confirmed by their peers. Scientifically verified.
Yeah.
That's the way it should go, right?
It's science. That's the way it should go. That's the way it is. Done properly.
That's what gets me hot, getting things verified.
None of this. I'm going to search the internet and call myself an expert.
Yeah, that's shady business.
All right, cool. My Chrome's not popping up for some reason. All right, here it is. All right, cool. Well, thank you. We'll have the link to this story and more in the show notes of the podcast if you want to read further. You can follow the Galactic Network podcast on Twitter, like our Facebook page, or subscribe to our YouTube channel. Find us by using the search terms Galactic Netcasts on all major social networks, or click on the icons at our website which is gncasts.com. It's gncasts.com. All right, so what is a big anniversary happening in 2016?
Star Trek.
There's that. Okay. Can you think of any other ones?
I turned 36. That's pretty huge.
That is. Keep Anessa and Anessa. I'm thinking maybe it's the solar eclipse that's happening later this year.
No.
No, 2017.
Oh, it's 2017. I got nothing, Dave.
Those are all great answers. I would have accepted the 5th anniversary of this podcast.
Oh, okay.
But that's not what I'm going to talk about. Aliens turns 30 years old this year. The movie Aliens.
What?
Yeah, hard to believe, right?
I feel old now.
I know, super old. So people are celebrating, including Sundance TV. They are airing the 4 films in the franchise each night from September 18th through September 20th. So get your DVRs/PVRs, whatever you want to call them, ready to get those, recorded. The network is also launching a Tumblr exclusive fan art contest, which enables fans to submit alien fan art, with submissions from finalists appearing during the marathon that week. Winners will then be announced each night, in addition to having their work featured on Sundance.tv and Sundance's Tumblr site. So porn isn't the only thing that you can find on Tumblr. You can also find aliens. Do you know Tumblr is just riddled with porn? There's porn everywhere.
What?
Yeah. Yeah,
Porn on the internet. When did that happen?
Well, the internet is for porn.
The internet is.
Haven't you seen Avenue Q?
What is Avenue Q?
That's a no.
It's a wonderful play that features like Muppet-looking characters and humans, and they coexist together, and it's like a musical, and it's fantastic.
Imagine a mature-themed Sesame Street.
Yes.
With-
And there's one where one of the Muppets discovers that the internet is actually for porn.
Ah.
There's a whole song about that. So
Okay. I've heard about this. Yeah. Okay. Carrie Henn, Rebecca Newt Jordan, the actress who played Newt from the Aliens franchise, will be a featured special guest judge.
What?
If you want to enter the Sundance TV's Aliens fan art contest, you can go to sundancetv.tumblr.com and a whole bunch of other stuff after that I'm not going to say. But I will have the exact link in the show notes. But I'm sure you can find it very easily at sundancetv.tumblr.com. All right, and another thing I wanted to talk about here in conjunction with the Aliens 30th anniversary is 20th Century Fox is releasing a limited edition Blu-ray to mark the 30th anniversary. The special box set will be featuring both the theatrical and special edition versions of the film, as well as a host of special features and added extras. The package also features some physical extras. There's a set of collectible cards showcasing concept artwork from the pre-production, and a book that collects iconic images from the Dark Horse comic book series based on the movie. The Blu-ray's cover art is also brand new and designed especially for this release. The 30th anniversary edition of Aliens will be available on Blu-ray on September 13th, with pre-orders now open at major retailers. A digital version will ditch the physical extras, but will retain the making of featurettes that's new to the package.
Huh.
So all you lovers of Aliens, get ready to celebrate 30 years.
Yep.
Are you have you guys seen anything special about the Star Trek 50th anniversary on TV? Have you guys you guys are cord cutters. I forgot.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Snip.
Because our space channel here in Canada is airing like the best of the franchise this week.
Huh.
I saw an episode of Enterprise tonight, and then I kept on. I did a search because I saw a story today about how Discovery Canada is going to be showing a special documentary show about Star Trek on Sunday. And then I did a little extra searching and found that they're airing a bunch of the movies this week as well. And my wife has not seen Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, so we're gonna watch it.
What? Oh,
I know,
she's in for a treat.
I know. It's the best of the movie series.
I would agree.
Okay, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
As well you should. That's a good story.
Thanks. Appreciate it. If you like what you've heard on this Galactic Network podcast, please consider helping us financially by going to gncasts.com/support. On that page, you'll find links to our Patreon campaign, where you can make a small reoccurring monthly pledge for as little as $1, $1. That's cheap. Or click on our Amazon affiliate link, make a purchase through that link using the Amazon search feature, and we get a very small percentage from the sale. And that also goes to helping us keeping the lights on here at the Galactic Network. Again, go to gncasts.com/support, and we appreciate in advance your support of this podcast network. All right, Anessa, you have the third and final story. What do you got there?
I do, and it happened today. So,
Breaking news.
SpaceX rocket has exploded this morning, September 1st, because of an anomaly. So, a SpaceX cargo ship exploded on the launch pad Friday morning in Cape Canaveral during a test firing, destroying the rocket and Facebook's first ever satellite. Which I'm wondering, what was Facebook going to do with the satellite anyway?
Oh,
So anyway.
I know the answer to that. They're going to be it was going to be providing internet for a part of some desert country.
So remote internet service.
Yes.
For your wife.
Shut up, Brad.
Okay.
In apparent reference to the UFO visible in a photo taken of the explosion, the UFO, the anomaly, caused Facebook's SpaceX satellite to explode. Apparently, the UFOs or the extraterrestrials are anti-social media.
Okay.
What?
Okay. I thought for sure that this was going to be a straight up story about what happened. I wasn't expecting a alien conspiracy angle on this story.
Surprise!
Thank you, Santa Monica Observer. So this is the second UFO encounter in Florida in 1 week. American Airlines Flight 3472 experienced an engine explosion Saturday night, also over Florida. Meanwhile, security cameras recorded a mysterious, unidentified flying object hovering over Gateway Arch in St. Louis. More at the bottom of their page. So anyway, SpaceX said that there was no injuries connected to the explosion, which is good, describing the site as an anomaly. The explosion occurred at the Space Launch Complex 40, according to Stephanie Martin with Kennedy Space Center Public Information. People throughout the area heard it as it disrupted schools and workplaces. That launch pad is used by SpaceX to launch rockets that carry supplies to the International Space Station, as well as satellites. SpaceX did not have a launch scheduled for Thursday morning. Its next scheduled launch is for early Saturday morning, when it was set to carry a private satellite into Earth's orbit for the Israeli company Spacecom. I wanted to read that as Space Corn. I'm not sure why.
Space corn.
So, anomaly is a term used in spaceflight as an alternative to UFO, which has taken on negative connotations. Response teams at the base were working to confirm if there were any injuries, said Brian Pertell, the public information officer for the 45th Space Wings. But yeah, like the story has said thus far, they were, I guess, testing to make sure everything was cool, and then they were going to go, wah, up and away, but no such luck. So there's video from the scene that shows smoldering infrastructure, and Brian Pertell said that personnel were being evacuated from the facility. So got to keep everybody safe. He says, once we determine everybody is out of there, then we can go in when it's safe to kind of determine what happened. So I guess there's no official word yet. And apparently this was like the third UFO incident this month. As mentioned before, there was one in St. Louis. Of course, there was the American Airlines thing that they mentioned, which I'm not sure where they get the anomaly from, but yeah. So anyway,
You know, I have a theory about what happened. I have the answer.
Oh,
You know how when people have a sighting of a UFO and they lose power in their car or lose power, maybe that's what happened. And a very important, vital piece of equipment lost power, thus causing the explosion.
maybe.
Maybe.
I guess we'll have to wait and see what their findings say. And
I'm guessing that's not the conclusion that they'll come to.
no, probably not. Exposed wire. There was a short.
Yeah, it's a cover-up.
There was a leak in the gas tank or something.
O-ring.
Goat spiders.
Some sort of oxygen sensor.
Chupra Billy.
Right. Okay. Well,
So if you want to read more, you can check out the Santa Monica Observer.
and we'll have the link in the show notes. Sweet. All right, here we go.
By the craft you witness.
Oh, hang on. I have to rewind this sucker. Here we go. Oh, it's not playing now.
Be kind, rewind.
All right, here we go.
Please identify the craft you witnessed.
Black, triangular, three-dimensional shape, huge, just flying, hovering minutes.
Shaped like almost like between an egg and like a teardrop.
Two long cylinder objects flying over me.
We had a dome. I could see the occupants in it.
Appeared to be rotating, and it was on circular and disc shape, and it hovered for maybe about 5 minutes.
Remember last week, guys? Remember last week?
I
Maybe?
think I was here. Yes.
We had some feedback from a guy. I believe
Paolo.
Yes. He said he gave us 3 recommendations of some sightings to talk about.
Oh,
And-
yes.
And I'm pretty sure we had never covered at least 2 of the 3. And remember, and I said we should, for each of our sightings over the next few episodes, that we should talk about these. So that's what I did. One of the sightings, the sighting this week is one of the sightings that he recommended. It is the Broadhaven Landing. The Broadhaven Landing. And I'm hoping to get some feedback from Daryl on this because he's our official UK representative. So Daryl,
Currently hanging out in Ireland.
he's in Ireland right now. Lucky bugger.
I love Ireland.
So it all started at lunchtime, February 4th, 1977. Almost 40 years ago, right? 40 years ago next year.
Yes.
I can't math.
At the Broadhaven Junior School in Wales in the UK, during a break between lessons, some 14 youngsters aged 9 to 11 years old witnessed a UFO land in a small field next to their school and claimed they saw a humanoid with pointed ears wearing a silver suit leave the ship and examine the ground nearby.
What?
Yes, this is crazy. If it were true, hopefully it's true, because that would be awesome. The children told the headmaster of the school, who made them each draw a picture of what they saw without discussing the incident with each other. The similarity between the drawings was remarkable, and the authorities were notified. The national newspapers picked up the story, and Broadhaven quickly became the focus of private, media, and military investigations. That's how it starts.
Interesting.
Over the following months, many other visitations were witnessed, including fireballs, more 7-foot silver-suited aliens, and even UFOs seen hovering near the Stack, a coastal rock formation in St. Bird's Bay. A large number of unexplained events seemed focused on and around Rippertston Farm, some 3 miles southeast of the school. It is worth noting that the farm is located less than 1 mile east of the abandoned World War II Talbenny Airfield. In a further case, Mrs. Granville, the manager of the Haven Fort Hotel, saw an oval UFO land in an adjacent field. 2 silver-suited figures emerged and seemed to examine something on the ground that later turned out to be the entrance to an abandoned Royal Observer Corps bunker. This was a hotbed of alien extraterrestrial UFO activity in 1977.
There was a lot going on there.
Yeah. The Broadhaven landing is one of the very few UFO cases to officially be investigated by the UK Ministry of Defense. Over the years, several people have come forward and claimed that they were behind the Broadhaven UFO sightings, and that was all just a hoax. However, people who actually experienced the events are dismissive of these claims. As one woman is said to have put it, if you think I can't tell the difference between a space creature and a man dressed in a boiler suit, you must be an idiot yourself.
Fair enough.
She tells it like it is. She's one of those.
Yep.
So that's my sighting. It's the broad sighting.
Cool.
The what's it? Hang on. The Broadhaven landing sighting of 1977.
Nice.
And there'll be more of that because in my my pick this week, I found a documentary that talks or that investigates this. So I love when I can follow up with more.
Oh, I know. It's nice to find additional information and see if they've uncovered something new, realized maybe it was something different that they were looking at. So, yeah.
Word.
Makes it more legit.
I like this case, although I don't think all of the reports were real because the documentary talks about how there's like three different military bases nearby. Like in one of them was a Air Force base with planes, and they actually did experimental. They test flew experimental aircraft. So that's part of it. But I also think the kids, initial sighting, that sounds pretty interesting, pretty legit. So, because I mean, when a sighting happens like this and gets a lot of national attention, people, kind of let themselves get all excited over the hype, right? And then they think they believe they see things, and they want to include it in the whole thing, right?
Yep.
There's got to be a word or some official term for that.
Boy, if there is, I got nothing.
Okay. All right. Well, if anybody knows the term for that, we would love to know it. You can leave it via our email address, which is aliens@gncasts.com. That's aliens@gncasts.com. You can leave it on our voicemail, 805-328-3966, 805-328-3966, or really any feedback on anything that we've talked about on this or other episodes, we'd appreciate. Or you can leave it on our Facebook page as well, or on our website, gncasts.com. There's many ways that you can leave us feedback, and we'd appreciate that. All right, let's move on to our final segment of the show, and that's our picks and warnings. And these are things that we have watched, listened to, played, etc., 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 all involving aliens in some form or another. Anessa, it looks like you are up first.
Yes.
What do you got?
I picked Steven Universe.
I want to watch that show so bad.
It is so wonderful. I mean, the episodes are approximately 11 minutes each. So if you don't have a lot of time, it's like the perfect show for you. And it's just a continuing story. And it's actually really great. So you have Steven Universe, his last name. And he is part of what's called the crystal gems. And they are beings from another planet. Steven, however, is a hybrid. He's part human, part crystal gem, and his mother actually gave up her life, or maybe not so much her life, but her form, so that he could live. And so she kind of lives with or through him in different ways. You kind of see her, I don't know that you would call it like her spirit, but like her presence pop up in certain ways. Like he has this gem on his stomach, and his mother was rose quartz, and all of the crystal gems have, well, they're stones, well, except for pearl. So you have pearl and garnet and amethyst. And of course, rose quartz is no longer really in the picture, but Steven Universe has kind of taken her place. And it's it's really interesting because it's this kid, he's trying to learn more about himself and his abilities and, you know, where he fits in everything. And he has some doubts about his capabilities because he's got some pretty big shoes to fill to be a crystal gem. And at the same time, though, he's a very optimistic character for the most part. He's very upbeat. Even if something doesn't go right, eventually he'll, you know, find like a silver lining or a way to turn things around. So he's really just a wonderful character, in my opinion. And like I said, the episodes are approximately 11 minutes long. So if you don't have a lot of time to dedicate to a show, watching one here and there, we've been watching them on Hulu, is where Brad and I have been watching them. And Brad's the one who actually introduced me to Steven Universe. So anyway, yeah, it's a show that I highly recommend. And I wish I had access to more episodes. Just throwing that out there.
Now they, you might have mentioned this, and maybe I was not paying attention, but the show is about going from universe to universe, right? It's alternate.
Kind of. It's not so much alternate universe. You've got the crystal gems. Well, the gems in general are from a planet, and they have different. Would you call them not really transporters or portals?
They're warp pads.
Yeah, they're warp pads, and so they can warp from one place to another. But
they stay on Earth.
Right, but I'm talking about the other gems. There's other gems that are out there that warp from place to place. For the most part, the crystal gems hang out on Earth because they're kind of the guardians in a way. They're protecting Earth. And most of the warp pads are no longer working. They're broken. So there's not a ton of, I don't know that this would be a spoiler alert, but there's not a ton of traveling outside of Earth. But there is some, I guess, I don't know if it would be an alternate dimension because they have a temple that they go inside, and it's kind of weird because each crystal gem has different abilities based on their stone, their personality. And so each one has their own sanctuary that they go to, and each sanctuary is different. So for example, Pearl, her room has a lot of waterfalls and just very peaceful, calm, serene. She likes to dance, ballet, primarily. And then you have Amethyst, who's kind of a hoarder, very much a slob. And she has organized chaos. And so Pearl is very neat and organized, and she's gone into Amethyst's room and cleaned everything up, and Amethyst is like, "What are you doing? I had a special place for that." So she finds organization in her own chaos. And then you have Garnet, and her room has more, is it pipes? Oh, she's the other thing too is the crystal gems are kind of going around, and like I said, they're protecting Earth, and there's beings that are from their world that are still here on Earth, that can cause harm to humans, and they're going around and capturing the gems inside these forms and preserving them. And so Garnet is more of the guardian of these spheres, it seems like. At least she's always the one. It's primarily in her area, her realm, her sanctuary. So they save these gems until they can do something else with them, send them home, hope that they come back in a better form. Because that's the other thing too, is when, and I don't know, is that really a spoiler? Like when they die? I don't know. When the crystal gems, or when a gem dies, it's only the form that gets destroyed. They can come back, but they can take their time to think about how they want to come back, if they want to change anything. So there's time for self-reflection, and they're kind of hoping that that's what happens with some of these gems that they're collecting.
The show is a lot different than I thought it was.
It's it's a bit deeper than you really think about it, because at first you're like, yeah, Steven Universe and Cookie Cat, and yeah.
There is a lot, and
There's a lot of themes. There's some hints, not, I guess, kind of at like same-sex relationships also that really isn't covered in a lot of cartoons. So you tend to learn more about some of the relationships between some of the characters that aren't necessarily just a simple friendship. It could have like a deeper meaning. So yeah, it's, for being such a short show, it's actually a pretty complex story that it tells, and really dives deep into the characters, and you learn a lot more as you go along.
It's still going on, right? They're still making new episodes.
They're still making new episodes. And from my understanding, when they initially started the show, they would do kind of like little Steven Universe bombs. So they'd release like 5 episodes at a time, and then go like a period between before they dropped another 5 episodes on Cartoon Network. I'm not sure if they're still keeping up with that. Because like the first season was 52 episothat's
correct.
And then the second season's like 25. I noticed that we're apparently missing like a couple of episodes on Hulu. So I was kind of bummed about that. But
right.
No, it's highly recommended.
What I was going to say was that like a lot of good cartoons, it's something where adults can watch, and there are things that they'll get out of it that kids won't necessarily get. Not so much innuendo, but sometimes there's a little of that. So if you understand complex relationships like an adult would, you'll kind of get a little bit more out of it, as it were.
Okay. All right. Well, so what's the rating?
5 out of 5, man.
5 flying saucers for Steven Universe.
Yep.
That's pretty good. All right. Thank you, Anessa.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good review.
Thank you.
Where is my document? I don't know where it is. All right. So the next person is me. Yay, me.
Woo.
And like I hinted at a few minutes ago, I'm going to talk about the sighting in the documentary that I watched. It's Britain's Closest Encounters, the Welsh Triangle. So this was a show that aired 4 episodes in 2008 for 1 season. Actually, it says episode 2 of... Okay, yeah. So 4 episodes in just 1 season back in 2008. This one investigates alleged sightings of UFOs and aliens from a school playground, throwback, that prompted Ministry of Defense involvement in the Broadhaven Triangle, West Wales in 1977. And pretty much I covered everything that they talked about in this documentary in the sighting. But I wanted to add a couple things. They also discuss the Rendlesham incident as kind of something else that happened in Britain, not part of this triangle, because the triangle is this certain area in Wales during this certain time in 1977. So all these things started happening. In fact, they went back further to the 1960s, and apparently there was some weird stuff going on back then as well in this certain area. Like they kept on seeing, what was that they called this? The Thing. Yeah, it was the Thing. It's something that would appear on a nightly basis on this, not on this hill, but these people would gather on this hill and watch it appear every night. It was called The Thing. And so there was already some weirdness happening in this area before 1977. This is like early to mid 1960s. And then they discuss Rendlesham. And guess who appeared on this documentary? I'm going to give you 3 guesses. Anessa.
I'm sorry, I had to take off my headphones.
Okay.
So 3 guesses on
somebody. You know how these documentary shows, they'll have somebody come on and go, I think this and that and this and that. And then they'll show some more footage with the narrator. And then somebody else will come on and some expert will come on. What do you
Nick Pope.
Yes.
I was going to go with Daryl Johnston. I'm glad you didn't ask me. I would have been wrong.
Well, Daryl has been to Rendlesham.
Yes, he has.
He made it part of one of his the episodes of the Sci-Fi Survival Guide. You guys should totally listen to it. It's awesome. And you should also listen to Who Knew and Reviews, which is Who Knew and Reviews. I was good.
You got it.
Okay. Anywho, this is a pretty good documentary. You can watch it for free on YouTube. And I'm bummed that there was only one season. But I suppose, these are the British. This is what they do. They'll just release a few episodes for one season and just call it a day. So, and it's Britain too. So it's not that big of a country. Maybe there's a limited amount of close encounters that they can talk about.
That's very true.
This one is worth the watch, though, and I'll put the link in the show notes. Again, it's Britain's closest encounters, the Welsh Triangle.
And how many flying saucers?
4 out of 5.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a very well done documentary, like very quality, and I recognize the narrator too. I've heard the narrator before on some other stuff.
Is it the guy that does all the crime shows? Because he seems to do everything.
Well, this guy was British.
Oh. Was it the British guy that does all the crime shows? No, I'm kidding.
In Britain. All the crime shows in Britain. Committed by British people.
Yep. I wonder.
All right. So let's wrap this.
Anthony Head.
That's who. Oh, that's why I recognized it. He's Giles.
Yeah, it's like I did a Google search and he popped up. So
wow.
I figured it out.
Neat. Thanks. I knew he sounded familiar. I'm like, where have I heard that name before? Buffy the Vampire Slayer. All right.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And Doctor Who.
What episode?
And Repo the Genetic Opera.
In Doctor Who, he played the headmaster of the Bat teachers.
Oh yeah, the school.
With, the Return of Sarah Jane.
Okay. Yes, I do remember that.
And then I think I made you guys watch Repo the Genetic Opera, and he was the
for the Sci-Fi Film School. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Brad, what's your pick?
My pick is Fallout 4 Nuka World.
Surprise!
I'm not surprised at all.
Well, Nuka World just hit this week.
That's very true.
And you guys mentioned it last week.
Yes. And now that I've had a chance to play a bit of it, it does tie in with aliens.
Sweet.
Yes.
What a great coinkydink.
Coinkydink. So what's really interesting about Nuka World is that there are kind of tips of the hat to previous versions of Fallout. And a couple of those, one of the big tips of the hat that deals with aliens is the return of the hubologists. Now, the hubologists are essentially Scientologists. And they, it's no big secret. If you do a quest for them, you get a special alien blaster that is very similar to when I had Fallout 4 as my pick before, because they had a search for a crashed alien craft. These hubologists seem to be slightly legit in that they have a even more powerful alien weapon that you'll have available to you. Now, the whole thing is really like I said, they're a take on Scientologists. So there's phrases and certain things that they use and say definitely point to the fact that there are kind of taking on Scientology. Now, the other thing that you get to see is in Nuka World, this is an amusement park. And there are different zones that are different amusement types. And one of them is the Galactic Zone, which is their space-themed part of the theme park. And in it, there are animatronic aliens that fire weapons at you. And they are little green men in silver suits. It's very funny. And they look like they look like the classic gray, with the teardrop shaped eyes that are black, but they are green in color as opposed to gray. So it's been really fun getting a chance to play in that part. And that was like the first zone that I went to. I'm like, oh, I have to go to the Galactic zone. So I've been in there for a little while cleaning some things out. So there you go. That is my pick, the Fallout 4 Nuka World DLC.
Just when I thought it was out, get pulled back in again.
Yes.
Mwahaha.
And I will give it 5 out of 5 flying saucers.
All right. Cool stuff. Thank you for your picks. We'll have the links in the show notes, and you can enjoy them for yourself. So there you go. If you'd like to chat with our hosts, other listeners of this network, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, just go to gncasts.com/signup. We'll add you to our Slack team, and you'll have the ability to interact with us in real time. Again, go to gncasts.com/signup, and we'll get you hooked up with our Slack team. It'll be fun. For more on this podcast, including show notes, contact info, and more, go to gncasts.com/aliens. And please subscribe to this podcast by going to gncasts.com/subscribe or search for us, The Alien Invasion, on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play Music, or anywhere fine podcasts are offered. All right, final thoughts. Brad, you're first.
Oh, I get to go first. Hey, school is back in session.
School's back in session.
Alex's first day was today, so
Hey.
I can't believe how anxious I was when I talked to his teacher, and I'm like, what? Did we forget anything? Oh God, does Alex have everything he needs? But no, everything's good. He had a pretty good first day, and there you go.
Yeah, school's back in for the French schools here in Ottawa. And
Nice.
Quebec is back in session. And the public school board is back next week. Public and private. They actually have the Catholic school board is actually a public school board here in Ottawa.
Oh.
High Catholic population.
That is very interesting.
All right, Anessa, what do you got?
Why do you think the internet was born?
Porn.
Porn.
Yay.
Go see Avenue Q.
So that's going to do it for this.
What a great segue. And we're out.
A Galactic Network podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Okay, bye.
I can't find... There it is. All right.
I feel like my head is being squeezed.
Uh...
I don't know.